how I mixed this song called Pyaar Me. This song is my very first Hindi song. I had a very fun time mixing it, and it did take a long time as we still had to get everything recorded, get everything in a good place, so it did take time, but I don't regret the time which it took. Sang it, I recorded it, I played the guitar, I produced it, and of course, I mixed and mastered it. So let's just quickly get into it. So as you can see, this session has all these different instruments. I'm just gonna tell it to you. I had like two songs which I was actually referring to while I was mixing this, so I kept that. And as you can see, like there's automation going on here with this, and I kept in mind everything about the automation, about everything sounding whole together. I'm gonna be starting with first the music, and then I'll move to the vocal. If I play this part, which has most of it, which is it's this part. So as you can see, it's having, you can hear reverb, you can hear a lot of compression as you would hear in a mix. But as you see, the vocal needs to sit within the music, right? So if this is the music, the vocal needs to sit, so the music has to be basically like that. So it has to form a wave in around the high mid so that the vocals can sit on it. And if I show you that the drums, the percussion, they are, especially the tabla and the vocals, they need to be sidechained because the vocals and the tabla is a similar frequency range, which can clash mostly, right? I'm gonna start with the drums first, and then I'm gonna move on to the other instruments. So the kick, if I open it, there's actually some boosting and cutting going on in the same EQ. So this I imported from Logic. It has already some amount of compression, so I didn't really need to add. And I already thought like if I compress the kick more, then it's gonna like bury too much. So I didn't want that. So I just EQ'd the kick here, and I've done like a bus compression on the drums. I used this Pro Q4 on the snare. So if I so now it's more punchy, right? So around like the 5.5 or 5K, and then we have 186 hertz. So I've boosted that amount so that I can hear the punch of the snare. It's very important to hear where that snare is, where the punch of the snare hits, so that if the more you boost it, then in the mix it sound boosted, right? If I open it back, and if you see, it's around almost 3 dB. I've increased the 5K and around 100, 200 hertz. It's because we want the punch of the snare. The snare is not just highs, it also has a little bit of lows. So I don't want, it doesn't clash with the kick at all, but sometimes it can. So, you know, just gonna keep that like that so that it's there. And pretty much it's not really clashing with the kick, so I've just left it like that. And then I have added smack attack. It's just 7 here, which, okay, before, after. So if you heard, it is giving that punch, the smack attack. And if you might have seen my other reels, then I do talk about smack attack being just giving that punch. It can also be used in vocals, which is pretty cool, right? And then I have this Slate Digital compressor, which is basically like a channel compressor on the SSL console. And if I play, so basically it's like holding it together, like it was like flying, and the dynamics, they're just holding it together. So this is what is it's all about. Like, I've just done EQ, attack, and compression. And then I have the other snare, which has basically the same thing, but this time the EQ is different. So I have two snares, but I have the same plugins, but just different EQs on it. Basically like a snare top and bottom. So if I play just the drums all together one more time. So I have adjusted the volume in such a way that it was already low, so I just put the punch snare a little lower, and the snare and the new snare, it's going more because I like the sound. I like that sound of the snare, which has both the punchiness and it also has the ring of the snare, which I like. There's a crash cymbal which has like boosted highs around 4 dB, which is like around 7K. Right? It's right there on the left. Okay, so I have these tom fills going on here. The toms, it's important to know that they also have somewhat similarity to the snare, but they're like a combination of the snare and kick. But I've ducked down this because it had a lot of mud, so I just ducked it down and increased around 100 to 200, 100 to 150 actually, 2 dB, and 6K was like plus 1 dB. So that's basically what is happening. On one more Slate Digital EQ, which is like a channel EQ, which like I've just increased the highs, and I've kept it like that so that you have the drums are like, we're able to listen to it. And then the Hitsville EQ, which is basically doing the job of removing the mud, around 320. It's basically adding it here because I thought that the actual body is needed. And then I've done some cuts as well, around a dB, and then a boost in the highs. So high mids. Okay, so that's basically what I'm doing on the drums. Now if I see the tabla is not playing with the drums. It's just playing separate. So the tabla is, I have mentioned it in another video, but just to let you listen. So I've used a Pro Q4, which is boosting here. It's doing like a dynamic EQ in the mids, and then it's increasing around that too, which is somewhat similar to the snare, but it's okay. We don't need to worry about the EQs that much because there's no drum playing, so there is no clash of frequency. So the SPL attacker is again doing a similar job to the smack attack on the snare. Then this is having quite of an attack. This is punching it like on the LA2A. I have used multi-mono because I needed to control the sides, right? Because both of it is on the sides. And on the bass, so the only thing is, like, if you saw here, there was red in the Pro Q4 of the tabla, and over here it's pretty here, right? The only thing is, like, the bass is completely in the middle and the tabla is not in the middle at all. So that is the difference here. So it does not really clash, and it sounds pretty fine in the mix itself. And there is a boost going on around 100 hertz here. And I've used max bass as well, making it more bassy. Of course it will. So it's giving more like the bass part of it. And then yeah, as I showed you, it is boosting around 100 hertz. And there's a Pro C3 as well. This EQ is basically doing a high cut, and Pro C3 is doing an internal sidechain here, which is not basically anything. It's just, I'm just getting rid of this here. So there's not much really going on the bass as well. Nothing very fancy, right? Now we have the acoustic guitar. This is the prominent frequency. And it's a very thin sound, right? It's not, it does not have any bassy sound in it at all. And the same thing is happening here. I've used a reverb as well, which is the BX Aura reverb in soft setting. And one more thing was that I have used reverb on the drums as well, which is a pure plate reverb. So the pure plate does act very natural. So I've used that in the drums. And then over here I've used an 1176, which is giving that like the very compressed sound. And then there's Soothe. Before. It actually does soothe the very crisp high sound which you're hearing. It is soothing that. Now coming on the electric guitar, I can play this beginning part for you guys. So it's the mid frequencies. It's literally just this. And this already has an override distortion going on, which I've bounced from my Logic session. So I'd already added a override on this before. So that's why I just have cut everything which is not needed, and I've just boosted the mids here. And then I've used Pro C2. It has mostly been in like the official setting, but I've just not done very much compression. Good amount of reverb, which is the Valhalla Vintage Verb, which is this one. And then one more time, a smack attack, which I love. Okay, and then the E major guitar has the same settings as the G major. As there's a scale change, I had formed different folders for them. And then we have the keys. There's a pad, which also has, so there's just volume, which I'm playing with here. This is the prominent frequency. Always hear for the prominent frequencies, because they will tell you what is actually the thing which you need to hear, right? I would say mixing, it's all about, it's like life. That's how I see it. You would boost whatever is good, right? If you like something, you want more of it, right? And then you boost it. If you don't like something, you just remove it and just get it out of your sight, right? So in this, get it out of your listening. And then we have this keys verb, which is the Valhalla vintage verb. Again, ambience, love it. And then I do have something in the background keys. I'll show you that in a second. There's a piano here, which is having a pretty similar, it's actually the same, exact same thing. And the pads, it's having like a high cut and a little boost here. It's just so pretty. And then we have this busy chords, which sounds like this. And then these keys, which are playing, are like. Just reverb, and this is a boost in like around 1 hertz. If I turn it off, I can't really hear it. Now I hear it. And I've just boosted a little bit of the volume inside this. And then we have Pro C3. Play it out. It's just controlling the peaks actually. Like just like that. Just holding it together. And then we have the very last instrument, which is the strings. You see it move here and there before the EQ and compression. That is my very favorite essence of this song. And if I play this part, it has the compression and EQ from this, which is like boost around the 3K. That's it. That's it. And then I'm just doing pure plate reverb here. So it's basically sounding like these instruments are around the same room, right? If I'm using the similar kind of reverb. So if I play this part with the song, so this is what is going on with the music part. One more thing, which is last but not the least, is the music bus has Pro Q4 and it's being side changed by the vocal bus, which is sending to bus 4, and the bus 4 is coming here, which is basically like if I play the last part. So here, like, I have done a full spectral sidechain, which doesn't really bury the music fully, but it does it in a way that there is going to be, the music is going to duct as well as the vocal is still going to stay prominent. So if I do before and after.
न कहने को न सुनने को कुछ रह गया दिल से दिल दिल में दिल ढल गया.
It just sits more better with that sidechain. So it's very important in such a big mix like this, in such like many tracks and clashing frequencies. It's very important to remember sidechaining is very important. One more thing about the vocals. So if I come to the vocals, this is going to be a separate video because I have to completely focus on the vocals in another video, but I can give you a gist of it, you know? If I see there is background vocals going on here, then there is Abhi's vocals, which is in the end. And then there's my vocal, and of course my mom's vocal, and that is going into a vocal bus, another folder. So folder, folder, subfolder into a folder, and this all is going into the mix bus, which is one folder. So if I give you an overview of everything, if I make it like that, so that's how it's going basically. So the mix bus, there's a music bus and a vocal bus, right? So we need to basically put everything together. So gluing everything together is just buses. So folders are basically like buses. If I would be sending bus 1718 stereo, if I create that, then that basically means that I'm creating a folder, but that folder where I can add plugins. If I want to add reverb, I send it here and then it creates a track. So basically it's like that, which is a folder, but that's a different way of doing it, and this is the way I approach it. So, and I also have a mix print track. The mix print track is going to record everything. So if I go to the output of this, oops, the output is to mix print Pyaar. Mix print Pyaar is basically the output where I am recording this. So if I press record, well, I'll just show you guys. If I press command space, it's going to count off and then record. That's what it did. So that basically helps you in making one whole track of everything. You can add fades in the middle, and you can also do automation, which you cannot do in bounced files. What we learned today was making folders, and in the next video I'm definitely going to be talking about vocals, which I'm going to break down the next one. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to see more videos like this, do comment down below what kind of more videos you would like to see, and I'm going to see you there.